Understanding triads on guitar. We're going to take one shape, 3 strings, and 4 frets. This is something an absolute beginner can follow along with, and something that a total advanced player will probably still find very interesting and can extract a lot from. Right now we're just going to take 4 frets, and we're going to play every single triad that would belong to the C major scale. I don't want you to do this or even try to do this by learning a bunch of different shapes for major and minor and then diminished. No. We're going to take one shape and extract everything from it. This is the shape. That might sound pretty strange to you right off the bat, but I don't want you thinking about it very long at all, and I certainly don't want you thinking what kind of theory is behind this or what kind of triad is that. Forget it. I can tell you later. Right now, I just want to make it really simple for you. The entire guitar is shapes. There was one time I was playing pool with Guthrie Trapp, and he mentioned to me, it's just shapes, it's angles, it's geometry. And if you can figure out a simple way to get there on the fingerboard, that's like a good part of it. So we're going to take that shape that might have sounded pretty bizarre, didn't make any sense, and we're going to now turn it into a major triad. First, let's look at the mother shape one more time. The way I look at that is it's a straight line down from the 3rd to 2nd string, and it's a backward slash from the 2nd to the 1st string. If you were to put that into frets, it would be the same fret on the 3rd and 2nd string, that's why it's a straight line down, and it would be 1 fret back on the top string, so that's the backward slash. Now watch this and follow along with me. There's no substitute for hands-on learning. You're 1 fret away, literally, from every major triad shape you would want, every minor triad shape you would want to learn, and what people think is the complex one, the diminished triad, it's not going to be scary anymore. I promise you that so much. If you take any single note in that shape and you lower it by just 1 fret, and if you're on the 1st fret, lower it to an open string, you're going to get some kind of major triad. We'll give it a name later, but you're going to get the sound of some kind of major triad. So those are the 3 shapes for major triads on the top 3 strings. Those are the only 3 shapes for major triads on the top 3 strings. There are other shapes on different sets of strings, but we're just keeping this on one simple set of strings right now. Those shapes are movable. Those shapes will work up and down the fingerboard. If you're already familiar with Caged, you're probably 1 step ahead of me and already know what the names of those triads are. But if you're not familiar with Caged, and if you're even just starting out completely, let me give you a really simple way to identify the names of those major triads. All you need to know from here is the names of the notes on the fingerboard. Now, I've been doing this for over 30 years, so maybe I take that for granted. So the easiest way is just go look for a cheat sheet. Just go to Google and look for a graph or a chart or something. There's nothing wrong with doing that just to get going. If you only know the notes of the first 4 frets on the top 3 strings, you'll be able to get something out of this. There's a slightly abstract shape-oriented way to figure this out, and there's a second way, which I think is easier, to just use a tool called the circle of fifths, which, don't get scared off, you're just going to use it as a cheat sheet. You don't have to understand or think about any music theory for this at all. Both ways will get you there just as well. So the first method that I mentioned that feels a little more abstract is simply to go to the string directly above the note that you lowered by 1 fret. If you already know that that's a top part of a cowboy C, great. But if you didn't know that, the way to identify that is go, well, I lowered on the 3rd string by 1 fret. Now I'm going to go 1 string above, and I have to identify the name of that note. Oh, that's the note C. This must be a C major triad. Or if I lower the note on the 2nd string instead, look on the string above that. the first string. Well, that's my high E string. This must be an E major triad. And what about if I lower the note on the first string? Now, in order to do that, let's move this mother shape up so that everything is fretted. There's no open strings, because without retuning the guitar, we're not going to be able to drop down that first string. Now we'll lower the note on the first string. Again, if you know Caged, you'll instantly recognize that as a cowboy A shape. But if you didn't know that, we can't go one string above because there are no more strings above. Instead, we're going to circle back and go, well, let's go back to the third string. Second fret, third string, that's the note A. This has to be an A major triad. The other way of getting to the exact same place is to use the circle of fifths. If you just identify the name of the note that you drop by one fret, and you hear me say, and let this go in one ear and out the other if it doesn't make sense, because it doesn't matter right now. Hear me say that that's the fifth of the triad. Go get a circle of fifths, or use the one that I'm going to put here on screen as a visual aid, and you identify the name of the note that you dropped back into. And you go, okay, in this case, I dropped into the note G. Better find G on the circle of fifths. Oh, I see it. I'm just going to go counterclockwise one spot. I see C. This has to be a C major triad. We'll leave the circle of fifths discussion at that, but that's the way that I would think about it if I was learning and trying to internalize a little bit of music theory at the same time. Now on to minor shapes. You'll be glad to know that getting to the minor triad is even simpler. Any note that you raise by one fret only in that shape, is going to be the root. That means the name of the chord itself of a minor triad. So if you move this mother shape, for example, so that you're starting between the third fret and the second fret, and then you take the note on the third string and you raise it up by one fret, I better identify the name of that note. It's the note B. I've just played a B minor triad. What if I move the note up on the middle string in between? The note I moved to was E flat. I just played an E flat minor triad, and I still only know open Melba folk chords, but I just played an E flat minor triad. Look at me. Or on the top string, move that up by one fret. Well, that's the note G. I just played the top part of a G minor triad. All Your Love I Miss Lovin' by Otis Rush is in G minor. Otis plays a great triad solo in the middle of that track and then goes into just a killer blues guitar solo. Finding the minor triads is literally that simple. You just got 3 minor triad shapes. There's only 3 minor triad shapes on the top 3 strings, and they're movable. Now hear me say this and commit it to your memory because it is important. A diminished chord is really some kind of minor chord. It's a variation on a minor chord. So it might make sense to get to a minor chord shape first. We just saw how easy that is to do using this system. Let's say I want to go to B minor. I'm going to go back to that mother shape that I used as a launching pad and raise the note on the third string up by one fret into the note B. In order to change that into B diminished, all you need to do is take one note and lower it by one fret. Process what this means. From the mother shape, you're going to raise one note by a fret, and you're going to lower another note by one fret. So they're going to be going in opposite directions from one another. In this case, if you raise the note on the third string by one fret, and you lower the note on the first string by one fret, you arrive here. I present you with B diminished. This works if you play that game of tug of war using other strings, but to keep this really simple, we'll wrap it up right now with that. What this means is that now you can play major, minor, and diminished triads. That will harmonize the major scale beautifully. So if I just tell you that in order to play a diatonic progression in the key of C, you're going to play C, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, and B diminished triads, and then resolve it back to a C, you're going to get this all within the first 4 frets. You're going to start to see chord tones, and it's going to form a really good groundwork for adding other extensions onto those chord tones. Simple extensions. I'm not talking about playing complex, advanced jazz soloing. I'm talking about simple things like a dominant 7th to play the blues. Or maybe you just want to add in some nice colors on top. It's going to open up doors if you just get familiar with chord tones. There's an email list that you can sign up for completely for free over on the website. That's at fretboardplayground.com. From time to time, I will be sending things out to the email list that might not be here at all on the YouTube page. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that this has helped unlock a little bit of the fingerboard and demystify it for you, because that's really what I'm trying to do with all of this stuff that's unfolding. I'll see you real soon in the next video, and keep enjoying the guitar.